Three. Hello, everyone. My name is Andreas Diaz. This is the Marvel Spartle Talk on WandaVision, episode 5, and it is called On a Very Special Episode. Will, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. Man, let's first off say that tile is very, very meta, I would say,
Yes.
the episode we got.
Yeah. That's been true of the last few, right?
Oh,
There's
oh,
now in color, and we interrupt this program for the one where there just wasn't any sitcom stuff. So
oh my God,
it's
that's
continuing that trend.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, this one was like it. I mean, this one was a very special episode for Obviously, we'll get to the very special cameo that I
The
mean,
end. Yeah.
which was totally unexpected. But
Hmm.
anyway, let's do this. Overall thoughts, Will. What's your thoughts on this episode?
This was a great episode, and I was happy to see that they were able to balance the stuff on the outside with Monica and the gang, and the stuff inside with the sitcom. Um, it was really well done.
That yes, that I agree. It did balance everything. I I think this episode did a good job of moving forward plot points
Hmm.
that was kind of crucial to answering, like like the big one you mentioned, like the fourth episode. We interrupt our program. It towards that end of that episode, we get Monica saying, "This is Wanda," and in this episode, it confirms, okay, Wanda is doing this
Right.
officially,
Yeah.
and so that was good. And and um, like this episode also did expand, expand the MCU and answering some of the fallout of Endgame and
Hmm.
Infinity War. Um, I want to get like the scene where what is it, the sword director was showing footage of Wanda stealing Vision,
Hmm.
body bag. That was, yeah, I don't know if you know that, Will, but like that's actually a deleted scene that was supposed to be in Endgame.
Really.
Yes, to and Kevin, Kevin Feige, the
Yeah.
producer of the Marvel Studios, and the head honcho, he explained, he explained it didn't fit, like, like there was so much you had to do with Endgame, and that
Yeah.
just it didn't
Yeah.
fit the mood of the film.
I'm trying to figure out where they would have put that.
I
Like I could see like a post credit scene.
Yes,
Um, but other than that, like Wanda is snapped for most of the movie, and then there's the big fight and the funeral.
exactly, exactly. I so that's um that was like a major reference that I don't know, you folks would never expected it, and this was like it was totally unexpected. I saw the article. I mean, one of the producers mentioned it, and it was interesting, and it's really interesting.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. And then obviously there's um I I mean it, I think this episode really shows the actor's talent. Livingston
Mhm.
Olsen has been knocking out of the park this whole series, and
Yeah.
it's incredible. Um,
Paul
uh,
Bettany too.
yes, I love him, and
Yeah.
and and this episode he really, I mean, just knocked it the park as well, and just Vision started to realize what's going on was really like it was kind of sad, but also shocking for him to just discover that.
Yeah. And it's weird to see him have like strong emotions. Like
Mhm.
that scene where he and Wanda are fighting, and he's like shouting at her was, oh man, you
I
could
mean,
like,
it
uh,
was totally shocking.
yeah.
I he's more
He's so like even tempered and like calm all the time, and then he's
yeah,
just, it was heartbreaking.
yeah. I mean, yeah, and then. of course, yeah, yeah, and then him just like I mean, and then like him discovering that Taliban is controlling everyone. Like that's crazy. Like him trying to like he got the obviously Dorsey and the sword was trying to communicate with him,
Mhm.
and then he starts to break free his coworker
Yeah. Oh
Nor,
yeah.
and that was really scary. It was like
Yeah. But like, oh man, shout out to the actor playing Norm. That was incredible. The way he
oh,
like switched, he just like
yes,
switched that on and then switched it right back off.
I know,
Um,
that's incredible.
it was great.
Oh my god, yeah. Again, just adding the surreal atmosphere we're getting in the show, and
Hmm.
that scene alone just completely just the command of storytelling in the show has been off the charts, and I think this episode shows you the many things they had to accomplish is just incredible.
Hmm.
And so um, let's so what do you think about getting back to Monica and the sword stuff? Like, what do you think about those? Um,
What do you mean? Like,
some like oh okay, so okay, seeing again Monica in
mhm.
the reality, and then seeing her really get into conflict with the director of Sword.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that
uh
was interesting.
yeah, and obviously we get you know a very quick reference of Sokovia, and so the Sokovia accounts, and it's still active. So
Hmm. Yeah,
that was very interesting.
yeah. Well, we saw that in um, was it was it Infinity War or Endgame with
Infinity
General
War,
Ross? Yeah,
yeah. Um, oh yeah, but like I understood that, but like I question if that was going to be still active after the 5 year jump, and
yeah.
this
I
this
guess there wouldn't be like a reason to
mm,
not have that. I guess.
I don't know. I guess I'm curious. Well, I mean, Black Widow's not going to address that because that's like it sets after Civil War, and like so this is taking like prime time and present time
Hmm.
after Endgame, and so this confirms it's still active. But
Yeah.
um and it's actually I like how Monica is like I like her chemistry with Dorsey and Jimmy Woo.
Yeah.
It,
Yeah.
it, it's really good. I love the running gag of the hex. Like I, I don't know if you like that one, but I really love that running gag. It was really
Hmm.
funny.
Yeah.
Um and yeah, then it was interesting them talking about Snap and like
Hmm.
how powerful Wanda was, and I like the mention of Captain Marvel, and I like the look that Monica did.
Yeah.
It was that was very cool, and so um and interesting when we
Yeah.
get to see those two back again. Um, yeah, and then I trying to figure out, but I guess I want to get to the best moment that I was expecting, seeing Wanda coming out from the reality bubble, and
Yeah.
and uh, just from you, Will, what do you think about that scene? Like, I
I um I mean Wanda is so powerful and it's like genuinely scary to see her be like angry at someone.
yes,
Um Man, and the reveal that she's like completely aware of what's going on. Like she knows that it's fake. She knows that it's this like
yes,
pocket reality, and she doesn't care. It's just it was a great reveal.
yeah, and I mean, honestly, everyone's making the point that her Sokoya accent has come back.
Yeah, yeah,
That was a totally shock, uh, and very meta. I think.
yeah. Well, I know like um, the Russos have said that uh, like over the course of the movies, they were telling Elizabeth Olsen to like make the accent like increasingly more subtle. because she was spending time with the Avengers, and her like connection to them was kind of like her accent was getting like watered down, or she was getting used to talking with Americans.
Yeah.
It just so like that it's back in full just shows that she's so like isolated, you know.
Yeah. Again, I mean, well, I mean, like completely lost now this time. You
Yeah.
know, before she had the Avengers after Age of Ultron, and it's like, it, it, yeah, it was kind of intriguing. I that moment was also great to see Wanda being like a little bit of her counterpart, but also I love the kind of subtle reference of her like putting the guns at the director, and it's like a little nod of how Magneto did it in the first X-Men movie, and it's like I mean it's a little deep reference, but like it's kind of interesting. You've seen a little bit of Magneto in her
Mm-hmm.
in this episode. Um, uh, but yeah, that's something I just want to point out. But I also like the scene how Monica was trying to like connect to Wanda. That was the other
Yeah.
thing I liked about that scene.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, a lot of like this episode felt like a lot of like X-Men stuff, but not being very at your face about it.
Mm-hmm.
And certain like you know like how the world sometimes view mutants, and like this kind of had that, how the director was approaching Wanda,
Yeah.
you
Just
know.
very quick to call her a terrorist.
Yes.
Just assume
And
that she's a threat.
yeah, and obviously Wu was trying to, or Wu and Monica and those and Darcy were trying to convince she's, is an adventure. Yes, you know, um, what happened with Age of Ultron was, not her fault, and it was very interesting. And I can't believe the director just like they sent in that drawing into the rally bubble, and
Mm-hmm.
then she had weapons, and it's like you do know that she has superpowers that literally are the most powerful, and she got them from the Mind Stone. How
Yeah.
do you, like?
That was pretty dumb.
Yeah, and you're lucky she didn't do the, in the first Simpsons movie that was very scary of Magneto pushing the bullet in your head. You're lucky she didn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
um. Anyway, but yeah, it was very cool. And wearing her costume, that was another thing I was kind of surprised.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah,
It wasn't like a new costume, right? She's worn
I
that one before.
it's kind of similar. I actually let me check because I that's another thing. I hope this series we get a new costume for her
Mm-hmm.
that's actually comic accurate, because I I mean, yeah, you and me have been discussing, well, like we mentioned a little bit that we like the Age of Ultron costume,
Yeah.
and then the Ruth Brothers when she went over the Captain America and Infinity War Endgame. They just kind of make it too, like it just seems more like the Phoenix from X-Men: The Last Stand, and I don't like that
Mm.
style of it. But hopefully we'll get something that's comic accurate. Um, yeah. What else we have to? Well, and to point out about the costume, Monica discovered that the clothing, like it,
Mm-hmm.
it got changed, but it still retained.
Still Kevlar, yeah.
Yeah, so we know that. So technically, she is wearing that costume when she's doing all that sitcom. So,
Mm-hmm.
so that was this interesting.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, there were like a few other things I wanted to mention about Monica and
yes,
Sword. Yeah,
yes,
I
yes.
noticed that when Monica is she is being examined by the doctor, they
Mhm.
say that the X-ray came back blank.
Yes,
Uh, and I know that her powers in the comics are based on energy sources, energy types. So I think she already got her powers, and they were messing with the X-ray machine.
Yes, I was gonna ask you if maybe we're seeing the like how you call it uh, the beginning of her powers to manifest.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, yeah. That I always wonder when they're gonna do that and how she's gonna get her powers, and that's very interesting. Yeah, I was curious, and I love how um like that was kind of fun thing to say. Like, I don't know what Monica said, but she said like, "Okay, I'm done. I'm gonna leave."
Yep.
After the doctor saying like, "We need to do more tests," it was funny. Um, okay. Thank you
Uh,
for mentioning that one. That one I
yeah.
was like,
Monica also mentioned like a scientist that she knew that could help.
yes,
I'm curious to find out who that is. Probably be next episode.
yeah. Uh, I I'm trying to remember. Like, everyone's been speculating either it's a like a Fantastic Four character, like maybe Reed. It's probably pop up here, but I don't know about that. Um, uh, I'm trying. Uh, I. Well, what do you think, Will? What's your theories on who's going to be that scientist?
I don't know.
Uh,
I don't think it'll be one of the Fantastic Four.
mm,
Um,
no.
yeah, I feel like they'll want to save that for their own movie.
Yes, that's probably true. Um, well, I mean, they do have to set up them like the fact that they announce it before
Mm-hmm.
the X-Men stuff. It should be early, but I don't know.
Yeah. Well, they're working on the movie, but I feel like they'll
Yeah,
wait to tell their story until the movie
yeah,
comes out. So
yeah. That's true. Um, I'm yeah. Oh, and let's kind of get into just quickly the commercial that we got in this episode.
yeah, this is my favorite one so far.
Yeah. Lagos, oh my god, that was too funny. The spilling the and, and this is probably the most darkest and like I don't know, like dark comedy I ever seen of a commercial, and just using
In the MCU, yeah.
yeah, it's so funny and like I mean I just love that. That is probably my favorite out of the commercials.
Yeah.
Um,
What was it? It was Lagos going to make a mess, but he didn't mean to.
yes, no, you got it. You literally hit
Yeah.
Berman on what they were saying. Very good, sir. But that was a good nod to what happened with Civil War. So
it's really
that was
dark
cool.
to just kind of
Yeah.
hand away the death of 30 people, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, let's kind of get into the the sitcom thing, and we got this time the 80s.
Yeah.
Um. Okay. I love the. By the way, seeing Vision as a baby and a kid, that
It's so
was
weird.
yeah, that was
Yeah.
weird. I don't know if you had this in your mind, but it reminded me so much of the Grinch of Jim Carrey's version,
Mm.
and oh my god, that was too creepy.
I
But
wonder if they got like actual photos of Paul Bettany as a kid and just Photoshop it.
yeah, oh my god, that could have been. Um, I mean, that could have been strange, but um, okay. This episode we got the twins,
Mm-hmm.
Billy and Tommy, and that was very interesting. So, um, I so the question is, well, like bring out this question we did from I think last episode and in episode 3. Do you think the twins are real?
I don't know. I
It's
I know
like
in the comics there have been times where they're real and there have been times where they're like
not real.
they're illusions.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah.
so we'll see.
It'd be funny. The one child is real, but the other is not. that that's something I could see them doing. So But and also it was very interesting to see Agnes in this episode. So what do you think
Yeah,
about her and like her horror performance in this? Like
yeah. So once again, she seems like they keep referencing children in the show,
yes,
and like her obsession with the kids this episode is, suspicious. So I think she's like behind everything, and I think her reason for doing whatever she's doing to Wanda is to get the children.
yes,
Um, and also the way that they were like, the way that the kids were begging Wanda to bring their dog back to life,
yes,
it felt like Agnes was like encouraging that and trying to like see if Wanda actually could resurrect something.
like what they did with Vision, which
Right, yeah, which is a little different from resurrecting a full person, but
yeah, yes, it was very interesting.
yeah,
I mean, I if like I mean to speculate that maybe that's like maybe the point of maybe Agnes is doing to Wanda,
yeah, she's trying
trying
to get someone to
try to get
resurrected.
yeah, and and maybe the this children is not about Wanda, it's about Agnes and her children, right?
Mm.
That's something we can see that she's manipulating Wanda to do these events
Yeah,
so that she can get into this point where she can force maybe Wanda to resurrect either her lost love or like her children, and that's been kind of the
so
recurring thing.
yeah, she keeps referencing her husband who has not shown up yet.
Yes, that's true. So it can either be both, really, like the children and the husband.
Yeah,
But
or her husband is some other villain.
yeah, um,
Yeah,
I mean, I mean, it's has to be Miss Vessel, and I mean that's the only
it
villain.
seems likely. Yeah,
Yeah, because there's no way it's. I mean, it could be a twist that Dormammu could be the one because Scarlet Witch is going to be in Doctor Strange too.
yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm gonna be open minded whenever we get a major reveal about the husband. Um, yeah, and again, Catherine Herron has been a great actress. I love her performance here. She's been killing it ever
Yeah,
since episode one. So,
yeah, she's really
um,
fast.
yeah, and this episode definitely confirmed more that okay, something's up with Agnes,
Mhm.
and she's been very self-aware of what's going on.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh man, the scene where she asked if they like if Wanda wanted her to take it from the top.
Oh yeah.
That was great.
Oh my god. And then um like uh, there were a couple of jokes she did that was very funny. I love her spraying something to those two crater
Yeah.
it
Although
was
it was like right after that when they aged the first time. So that was
oh yes.
suspicious.
Yeah. Yeah, she's my favorite character so far in this
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
um but yeah, well, and what was funny, Vision commented how much Scarlet Witch just kind of been just slowly just not taking care of the secret of their
Right. Yeah.
powers.
They're getting less and less like careful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's very interesting. And also conveniently the dog dies
Right.
around.
Well, the dog shows up, and then the first time Agnes comes into the house, the dog
Yeah.
like tries to lick an electrical socket, like an outlet.
Yeah, I
So it
did
was like she wanted the dog
the die.
dead, like immediately, probably to
Yeah,
like bring up the question of whether Wanda could bring it back to life.
yeah, that's funny. God,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's oh my god, that's funny. And then apparently the dog ate all her flowers and she died like that.
Right. Yeah. Just very convenient that she was there both times.
Yeah, exactly. Again, just confirming that she kind of is the main villain of the show,
Yeah.
but they're not yet confirming that. So, which is fine because it's good to speculate and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. I have no problem with that because they've been doing a good job of not doing the cliches of the villain and stuff like that. I mean, this show has been doing a lot of like Legion stuff, where it's like like we don't know the end game of the villain's plot. So,
Right.
um, speaking of the dog, just quick, that's actually a comic book reference. The dog that's actually Vision's Sisyphoid dog from Tom King's run.
Oh.
So that was uh, a major comic reference that you folks should know. And then the kids were wearing color, you
Mhm.
know, carnation that's similar to their parents. I don't know if you caught that, Will.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's also the colors were similar to their costumes in the comics.
Oh yes, and then a little bit of Tom King as well. If if I'm checking, I'm saying that right. Yeah, like I mean, I don't know which is Billy and Tommy, but they're wearing blue and red, so that should say
Green
something.
and red. Yeah.
Okay, so we mentioned that. Da, 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 da. What else we have to mention? I'm trying to figure out. Um, da, 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 da. Was there any?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah. I just,
go ahead, say it,
yeah.
because.
The scene where Wanda made the credits roll.
Oh yes, that was shocking.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
really cool to see. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, Vision like like just not going like how you say not going through the script
Yeah,
was
it was such a cool way to play with the like format of the
yes.
sitcom,
Hmm.
where there was like a classic like end of an episode joke, like the "you can't control me, can't I?" And then he like hangs his head, and the music plays, and the credits start rolling,
Yeah.
and you're like, yeah, that's how a sitcom episode would end, and then it just keeps going,
Yes.
and they start fighting.
Yes, I know. That was so funny. It's kind of like what Hot in Cleveland did one time. Once on one of those episodes, it was too funny. Oh my god, I love that. Yeah, this show's been killing off. They've been very accurate how symptoms are
Yeah,
in this
yeah.
decade, and this is cool. Yeah, I think I enjoyed this more as a sitcom, and it's been really cool. Okay, let's we're hitting up the 12 one right now, so we're hitting almost like a half hour. Let's wrap these things up to really well. Let me ask you something.
Mm-hmm.
I I I don't know what you know about this, but I want to talk about this. As a YouTuber, one of the reasons that I got to be an editor and stuff like that is because of Quicksilver from X-Men Days of Future Past, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
2013 was a big deal for me in terms of changing career paths and and my YouTube didn't hit right away, but when I did the Quicksilver tribute and used the Quicksilver song that he used, Time
Mm-hmm.
in a Bottle,
Yeah.
that completely set me off. So, and ever since, I love Evan Pierce Quicksilver. He's the best thing about the Fox X-Men films,
Mm-hmm.
and and the best thing about X-Men Apocalypse, right?
Yeah.
And this series had brought back the MCU Patro. We haven't been talking about it since Age of Ultron, and you and I and every FC fan think kind of say it's kind of weird if she hasn't mentioned that. This show
Mm-hmm.
has done that.
Yeah.
Um, I know you've been doing a good job of just not listening to the news stuff like that. I heard a
Mm-hmm.
little bit of this, but man, were you expecting the Quicksilver, like the Fox version, to come?
No, no, I was not. I had heard that Evan Peters had been cast in the show,
Mm,
um,
okay.
but no, I was not expecting him to show up as PHO. Um,
and them meta commentary on it,
Right.
like Dorsey saying, "Did they recast Pedro?" I I was
Yeah.
like, I don't know. You have this moment, Will, but I thought they were doing McNeil because he had white hair in the comics, and
Yeah. Well, no, they. Um, it looked like so Aaron Taylor Johnson's hair from the
mm,
back,
yeah, yeah.
right? Because in Age of Ultron, it was like um, it was like dark underneath, but then the top had been dyed white.
Oh yes, I remember that. Yes, yes, that's true.
So when they showed him from behind, you were like, oh,
It's Aaron.
it's
Aaron.
Aaron Taylor Johnson's Pietro. And then they went to the front, and it was Evan Peters.
Oh my god. Oh my god, that was too shocking to me. And
Yeah.
I mean, everyone. I mean, everyone's happy and shocked, and it, I mean, I mean, like, so you think this, like, I mean, first off, like, just bringing the Fox version into the MCU is very fascinating.
Yeah. Well, yeah. See, I wanted to ask you about that. Do you think it is just the Fox version, or do you think, like,
Oh, um, okay. So, I mean, it's kind of tough. Well, okay. There's two or three ways they can go with this, and let me explain this and speculate.
mm-hmm.
Um, so we're probably going to see him again in the next episode, right?
Yeah, he'll probably be a guest star.
Yes, right. Okay. This is speculation. We really don't know what's going on with the X-Men in the MCU. This confirms that maybe the House of M storyline is going to happen in the show, and that
It
not
could happen, yeah.
not in the show, but like slowly in different projects. That Wanda is planning, not realizing her effects of reality. She's
Mm-hmm.
bringing in the X-Men into the MCU, and because we're seeing how she affects these people in Westwood, and they're
Right.
not remembering stuff. That's something, yeah.
Yeah.
And we can totally see that with the X-Men characters. Like, they can just cherry pick the ones that people like, yeah. And like I can see McAvoy and Fassbender's versions here,
mm-hmm.
and we could just avoid, like a good sample, of course, as Jennifer Lawrence Mystique, and just recast her and make a new version of her in this universe, right? Because that's essentially what we did with Quicksilver. I mean, I I mean, of course, I love Evan Pierce, and I do respect the MCU Quicksilver they had in Age of Ultron, Aaron Taylor Johnson, but no one likes him, and I mean, they don't
I
like.
like it, but
Yeah, that's good. That's good because I don't have no problems with that version.
yeah.
I just kind of wish we had more development with that character, and
Yeah,
I,
he didn't
I
have a lot of time to
exactly.
grow up.
I respect that actor. I love his performance in Age of Ultron. Everyone. I'm just saying that the majority of people didn't grasp into that version,
Yeah.
and the fact they're doing this way. I mean, not they're not doing this way, but like the fact that bringing him instead of Aaron, this shows that they like heard, like they know that he's the most popular, right?
Maybe
So yeah.
No, I have a theory that like it might not be Pietro. Like it might not be that they recast Pietro. It could just be that
Mm-hmm.
like the MCU's Pietro is dead, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was
Yes,
like established in the episode that she can't or won't resurrect anyone.
that's true.
So maybe they just like cast another like a resident of Westview as Pietro, and it just happens
Yes.
to be Evan Peters, and who's like a doppelganger of a Quicksilver from another universe.
Okay, that I like. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
And we got that in last episode, episode 4. We interrupt our program, and they got the real names of those people.
Right.
So that's true.
Yeah.
Um, it'll be funny. I mean, it'll be funny. They confirm that in the next episode.
Yeah. We'll
um,
see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
That's actually a good theory. I think I like that. That's I think the most realistic one in terms of that's gonna
Yeah.
happen.
It could also be that she like has broken the multiverse a bit and pulled in just a different version of her brother. But
Yes, and that's where I want to get into that. So the second theory for me, is it could be that Wanda like suddenly says mutants in the MCU,
right.
and she accidentally didn't create new ones in the MCU. She brought in the X-Men Fox universe into the MCU,
Mm-hmm.
and then and she was supposed to resurrect her brother, but instead she just got the Fox version and not her version of her brother in the MCU.
Yeah. I
I
don't
can
think
see that.
Wanda brought Pietro though.
Yeah. No, no, no.
Right? 'Cause-
It's not like she was trying to tempt to bring back her brother, maybe.
Well,
Like,
but she said that she didn't do that. So I think like
oh yeah, that's
Agnes or
true.
someone
Yeah,
made Pietro appear.
yeah. Um, yeah. Maybe maybe I should stop speculating because,
Well, yeah,
yeah,
that's all.
there's a lot of questions about his return.
Yeah, which
That
I'm
is,
excited for them to get answered over the next
yeah,
4 weeks. So
yes, that's true. Um, but yeah, I think anything else we want to talk about the Quicksilver thing, anything like that. Um, I, I think that's like the moment that people has been talking about, and
right, yeah,
I just feel
that's the
like,
big twist.
yeah, the biggest choice the show has done, and oh my god, it was just crazy. Um, yeah, like I mean, Arigo's been saying that uh, this version has been through like a screen rant mentioned how the Quicksilver is maybe being pulled through the multiverse, as you say, will
Mm-hmm.
somehow, and and stuff like that. But we need to see. I like your theory about he could be just a resident of Westwood, and
Right, and then he's a doppelganger of
exactly,
like a different universe as Pietro, so they
yeah,
cast him.
exactly. Because I mean, I want to be careful with the multiverse thing because we have Spider-Man doing that, and he's
And
the
Doctor Strange.
exactly well, and Doctor Strange is going to be the next thing after Spider-Man.
Right.
So that's why I want to be careful with the multiverse thing. So, um, but yeah, well, Will, thank you for joining this conversation.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, this one, I agree. This is my favorite episode. It beats the episode 4.
Yeah, this is my favorite as well.
Yeah, and um, yeah, they so far been pretty good. The first 2 episodes I like. Episode 3, okay, but the end of episode 3 helped it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But then episode 4 and this completely continues the strength of this show, and I've been enjoying it. Oh man, we're going to episode 6, Will. We got
Yeah, we're
one.
more than halfway there.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, well, thank you, Will, for joining me.
Yeah.
This was fun. I'm excited for the next episode.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to thank everyone for listening to this podcast. Just hit and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye.